welcome to another monthly broadcast. Last month we asked you where you were connecting from. This month we're going to change it a little bit, so if you're on the chat, let us know what marketplaces you're selling on. It'd be great to see. I know most people will be selling on Amazon, but let's see if we have any other people selling on other different marketplaces.
So to start with, I'll be speaking with Base. They're really useful software that you can use when you are selling on different marketplaces.
After Base, Khaled's joining us because he's got really important information about the Amazon Ireland promotion. I know Ireland is the topic of conversation recently, and Amazon are doing an incredible promotion. There's a QR code on the screen now if you want to learn some more, but keep watching because Khaled's going to join us and explain the entire thing.
Next, we'll be having Lewis and Hannah. They'll be talking about PAN-EU versus EFN, so two different Amazon programs, and you can hear more about the pros and cons of those.
After them, I'm actually joining you again because there's a topic about the UK VAT numbers. There's a whole bunch of things about it being valid, invalid on Amazon. So I just want to cover the steps that you can take in case this is happening to you.
And then lastly, we'll have Yuri, who'll be talking about VAT and tariffs and the difference between the two, just to clear up any confusion there.
Yeah. And as always, if you have any questions throughout the whole broadcast, just pop them on the chat and Laura and I will join you at the end to answer them. If you want to talk about anything else or you have any topics of conversations you also want us to cover, again, just pop them on the chat.
For a limited time offer, we've got a really special offer for you. We're doing your first registration for free. It could be VAT, IOSS, or OSS. And your second one is 50% off. Now, if you're already with us and you're already an Avast customer, you can still take advantage and get 10% off of your filings. Our limited time promotion is going to be from the first day of spring, March 20th, until the day after Easter, April 21st. Don't wait.
Hi everyone, so here I'm joined with Pete from Base. So really happy to have Pete on. He's going to tell us a little bit about their solution and how that can help you. Go ahead, Pete.
Hi Laura, thanks for having me here. Good to be here. My name is Pete Dupont and I look after the UK partnerships here at Base.com. I've been in e-commerce for 15 years or so, initially from the seller side, selling D2C, drop shipping and marketplaces before moving over to sort of core partnerships at various spaces along the e-commerce journey, including marketplaces, logistics, agency, and now tech at Base.
Thank you, Pete. So today, the main topic that we're going to be talking about is the rise of marketplaces. So the different opportunities and challenging that can come with marketplaces when you're scaling, which I think is a really interesting topic. So firstly, what are some of the main factors that have contributed to the rise of e-commerce marketplaces in the UK and the EU?
Yeah, I think the rise in popularity, of course, is pretty much led by consumer behavior. I think the shift towards online shopping, which of course was accelerated by the pandemic, has made marketplaces that sort of preferred buying channel. I think 56% of consumers start their product search on Amazon, of course, instead of Google. I think consumers lean towards those marketplaces for convenience. It's about product choice and availability. That then brings really competitive pricing. I think from a UX perspective, people know and recognize how to find products and the checkout UX as well. And again, through marketplaces, they get that reliable delivery. I think the trust element is really important with a recognized marketplace. How are the orders and purchases protected versus that of a website or D2C experience?
Yeah, no, that's I would completely agree. I mean, how many times are you in a shop and you think, oh, I'll just search online for this product and find it cheaper, or be able to order it and have it next day if it's out of stock. So I couldn't agree more on that.
Next day piece is really interesting. Again, consumers are now so used to having the option to have their product delivered within one day, whether you need it or not. If you go to a D2C site, you may not get that same level of experience.
Yeah, exactly. So what, in your opinion, would you say, how important is it when you're scaling in the UK or EU to actually be selling on marketplaces?
Yeah, I think it's key. I think growing a brand, for example, is really a long-term project, and using a marketplace is a great way to gain sales and some element of visibility on that channel. Developing the presence on that marketplace, of course, is going to be super important. Marketplaces have this instant audience, and there's no need to market it as such, to be able to get traffic to those products initially. I think Amazon has over 315 million customers, worldwide, and to tap into that, of course, is going to be such a benefit. I think with marketplaces comes that enhanced credibility and trust. And I think a customer or consumer is, again, more likely to buy from a marketplace they recognize, potentially, rather than an unknown website of a new player they haven't quite come to just yet.
So what would you say are the key challenges when sellers will be expanding into UK and EU, specifically on marketplaces?
I would typically say there are sort of 4 main barriers, not to oversimplify. Again, compliance is such a big barrier. And I suppose by barrier, it means what are the negative reactions to the question of, do you want to scale? Or I'd like to scale, but one of the barriers is, again, the compliance piece of tax. If you want to sell in a country, do you need a bank account? Do you need an entity? Do you need a VAT number? Trying to navigate that complexity, including customs, is a real headache, which I know that is solved very well. Product compliance, again, is my product fit for that particular market? And what do I need to do to be able to adapt? That's a huge piece which needs to be addressed, I think, and that's one of the biggest barriers. I think linked to that, of course, is the logistics piece. How do I get my stock ultimately to a place where I can deliver it and where it can be fulfilled and delivered to the end consumer quickly? Of course, again, as soon as you bring stock into a country, that of course triggers the tax complexity as well. But it's talking about how logistically can I get my goods delivered to the end customer, with a timely delivery. The third barrier, I suppose, is local expertise and understanding the market. What are the cultural differences? Is my product right for that market? And how do I adapt my product listings to be able to connect with the consumer there? What are their habits? What are they looking for? What's the customer experience? How's that different to other territories? And of course, in different languages. The fourth barrier I would put down to sort of operational and technological infrastructure. Again, everybody would love the idea, or most brands, not all, but most would like the idea of selling more. How do you manage that operationally? Is it about actually adding people to the team to look after, local markets? Or actually, is it about using tech to be able to, look at efficiencies across those new channels? I would probably say maybe as a fifth, maybe not a barrier, but certainly a major consideration would be things like inventory management and pricing strategies across those new markets.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with the new markets comes new challenges, but there are ways that you can sort of work around, or how would you say is the best way to succeed given those challenges? What would be like your pieces of advice for sellers expanding?
Yeah, I think, there's great opportunity there. And some sellers succeed really quickly. Some take a bit more time. I think all those barriers can be addressed. And I think that's the nice thing. When you put your head on the pillow at night, there's a way around those things and there is support. I think what comes down to winning or being most successful is to be strategic in your thinking. choose the right marketplace for your products. Are you looking at a vertical specific marketplace because they're particularly strong, like Zalando for fashion, for example? Or do you want a broad marketplace where you think there's going to be broad demand for your product? Again, optimize the listings. It's really important, but not to be overstated. It's using the right high quality images and localized content with local keywords, and again, making sure your prices are competitive in those areas. Advertising, I think long gone are the days where you could list a product and hope that the algorithm would pick it up. You've got to be able to use advertise capabilities on those marketplaces, sponsored products or promotions to really try and help you boost your presence in that algorithm. I think, again, pricing is so important. You have to be competitive, but again, you've got to make sure it doesn't impact your P&L, that bottom line, to make sure you're really on top of that. And there are certain tools that you can use to remain competitive while you're managing profitability. The customer is your barometer. You've got to be able to make sure that delivery is great for them, the right customer support and clear returns policy, which, unfortunately is going to be needed. But again, how does that suit them in those local markets? I think as part of that, it's making sure you use the right fulfillment service. Make sure you've got a trusted partner with the right warehousing, the right location that can suit you. Again, there are loads of local warehouses, and some of the marketplaces have their own fulfillment services too. So really consider those. They're there for a reason. Making sure, again, returns are part of that. Different buckets and marketplaces will have their own requirements on where the returns are going to be sent to. So make sure that suits you in terms of your strategy.
Are there any trends that you can see for the future of marketplaces that are coming up?
Yeah, I think trends are all around us even at the moment. I think there are new marketplaces that have come in from outside of Europe, the rest of the world, like Shein and Temu. And that's a vast number of products and increased competition. I think from the consumer side, looking at demands and wants, I think there's more of an element on how sustainable and ethical some of the shopping is and how the product is made. They're looking much more at eco-friendly products, and there's more onus on the marketplace to be able to highlight those types of products and brands. I think, again, as a trend, AI, of course, is everywhere. How AI will continue to be able to suggest products, how's the algorithm going to change even more to look at those product recommendations and potentially look at automated sort of customer service based on your shopping experience and history. I think we have more marketplaces obviously looking towards more and more ways of retaining their customers. So with subscription models and loyalty programs, obviously you've got Amazon Prime and Zalando Plus. You're looking at on buy now offering cashback as well. So I think there's even more of those types of additional service that can be aimed at the consumer. I think from, again, the seller perspective, it's increasing capabilities to look at omni-channel integrations. Again, you've got your marketplaces, social commerce, of course, is going through the roof. How do you combine those with your physical stores and our websites? So again, the tech side is really helping support those marketplace trends in terms of activations and adoption. Again, you guys will know this more than most, but I would assume there's going to be stronger regulations and just on compliance. Again, that's product compliance as well. DPP is coming up, of course, and you've got looking at maybe wider tax responsibilities and expansion of APR into new countries. So I think there's a lot for.
So in summary, what we're looking at when we're selling on different marketplaces, what are the sort of ending points that you'd like to really end on?
Yeah, I think we sometimes talk about, negatives and the barriers. I think there's a world of opportunity. I think it's really talking about the strategic thinking. So again, think about which marketplaces are going to be the right ones for you. and look at more than one, diversify, don't rely on one marketplace, spread the risk and reliance. So again, you're able to diversify and look at different sales channels. If you can use the right way to manage them, it wouldn't take up too much extra time to be able to add more markets as opposed to just launching onto one. I think the compliance side is an easy answer. It's speaking to the expert. I think there are lots of things that can complicate things and muddy the waters. And I think to be clear on what's required and making sure things are handled by the likes of a FASC, I think is a sensible option to go down. Again, logistics, I think there are loads of solutions out there. And I think as long as you're considering the end user in terms of experience and delivery times, you too wrong. Don't overestimate the importance of local expertise, perhaps agency help, in those territories to be able to support localized listings. But I would use all the support there, particularly from side, businesses like Based. There are others to help scale and control this launching process. Again, adding new channels doesn't have to be a huge operational undertaking, but actually it can be a pretty simple tick of a box.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. Thank you, Pete. I think, like you said, there are solutions out there to help you, like Base, when you're managing, so many things at once, or, equally for compliance, for customs. There are solutions out there. So don't, try and do everything on your own. Reach out. We'll have obviously your contact details. I imagine somewhere on the screen. The tech team, I'm sure, will be taking care of that. So reach out to Pete. Equally, reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll be doing a Q&A session at the end of the broadcast. So thank you so much for your time, Pete. And I hope that was really helpful. And like I said, any questions, or please reach out to us directly.
Amazon have officially opened their FBA centers in Ireland, which means that from now on you can start selling as well as storing in this territory. Brexit have disrupted the trade between UK and Ireland, which has resulted in the Irish local market to grow by 40% last year. In order to give you a boost to start selling in Ireland, Amazon is also offering a promotion, and we're here to help you with this. Amazon is offering a free registration and 2 years worth of compliance for the future VAT number, which will be required for you to store there. Avast has local agents who can help you apply for the number and maintain compliance during your activity in the country.
If you're an Amazon seller looking to expand your business across Europe, you need to understand the differences between Amazon's European Fulfillment Network, EFN, and the Pan-European FBA, PAN-EU programs.
So let's go back to basics and break down what the differences between the two are, the pros and cons, and help you decide which program could be key for enabling your business to continue growing in 2025.
First, let's talk about the European Fulfillment Network, or EFN. With EFN, you store your inventory in one of Amazon's local fulfillment centers in Europe. This allows you to fulfill orders from all of Amazon's EU marketplaces using a single inventory pool. Your FBA inventory can be listed across all EU Amazon stores with just one account, and orders are fulfilled using the European Fulfillment Network. Now, some of the pros of EFN. Number one, simplicity. EFN is easy to set up and manage since you only need to store your inventory in one country. Number two, single VAT registration. You only need to register for VAT in the country where your inventory is stored. And number three, you end up with lower initial costs. So lower upfront costs compared to PAN-EU, as you don't need to distribute inventory across multiple countries. Whereas some of the cons of EFN include higher fulfillment fees. Cross-border shipping fees can be higher, leading to increased fulfillment costs. Number two is longer delivery times. So shipping from one country to others can result in longer delivery times for customers. And number three is limited Prime eligibility. So products may not be eligible for Prime in all EU countries, which potentially could reduce the visibility and sales.
Now, let's move on to the Pan-European FBA program.
This program allows you to store and distribute your products across multiple Amazon fulfillment centers in Europe. By leveraging Amazon's network, you can send your inventory to a nearby fulfillment center and sell your products directly from there. Amazon handles the logistics and dispatches orders to consumers from the closest fulfillment center, ensuring faster delivery times and reduced fulfillment costs. Pros of the Pan-European. We have number 1, faster delivery. Products are shipped from the nearest fulfillment center, often resulting in next day or even same-day delivery. Number 2, lower fulfillment fees. Local fulfillment fees are generally lower than cross-border fees, leading to cost savings. Number 3, we have Prime eligibility. Products stored in PAN-EU centers are eligible for Prime in all participating countries, increasing visibility and sales. And number 4, we have access to multiple markets, easily sell across multiple European marketplaces without managing separate inventories. Now, let's go into the cons of the Pan-EU. Number 1, we have complex VAT compliance, as you need to register for VAT in each country where your inventory is stored, which can be complex and time-consuming. Number 2, you will have higher initial costs. Distributing inventory across multiple countries requires higher upfront investments. Number 3, we have inventory management. Managing inventory across multiple fulfillment centers can be more complex.
So what is the key difference between EFN and Pan-EU? EFN involves holding all your goods in one country, from where they're picked, packed, and then shipped to the destination once an order is placed.
In contrast, the Pan-European FBA requires you to send your goods to your home marketplace, and Amazon uses its intelligent distribution system to store your inventory in various fulfillment centers across Europe.
In summary, EFN is great for sellers who prefer a centralized inventory,
while Pan-EU is ideal for those looking to offer faster delivery times and lower shipping costs by distributing inventory across Europe.
Every e-commerce business is different, and what works for one business may not work for another.
So get in touch with us and we will help you work out what works best for your business today.
Recently, Amazon has been contacting sellers regarding the validity of their UK VAT numbers. If you are facing this issue, here's what you need to do. First, ensure that your UK VAT number is valid by checking it on the government website, which you can see on screen now. If your UK number is showing as valid, Amazon still might reject the VAT number if the address details on your business registered address with Amazon don't exactly match those with the tax office. To prevent this, follow the next steps. First, verify your address. You can download your UK VAT certificate, currently uploaded on Amazon, and just ensure that the address of your UK VAT certificate matches the Amazon Business Registered address. If the address doesn't match, you can contact Avask and we can support you to get your UK VAT registered address updated on the certificate and back in action. If your UK VAT number is showing as invalid, again, you can contact us and we can support you to get your VAT number active again so you can continue trading.
There's been a lot of talk about VAT lately, and common misunderstanding has emerged. Many people confuse VAT with tariffs. It's important to clarify the difference. When goods enter Europe, VAT is applied. However, business can typically reclaim this VAT, meaning it doesn't represent a final cost. Tariffs, on the other hand, are direct costs. Once paid, they're not refunded. With global trade evolving, it's crucial to stay informed. The European Commission recently released a statement regarding US tariff policies. The Commission emphasized that the EU maintains one of the world's most open economies, with over 70% of imports entering tariff-free. They expressed concern that the proposed US policies represent a negative shift and reaffirm their commitment to a transparent and beneficial global trading system. If you'd like any more assistance with VAT, get in contact with us today.
Is my mic on?
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for watching the broadcast. I know you've all been patiently waiting on the chat with lots of questions, so we'll go straight into it. I know we covered a lot of topics. I see a lot of questions about Ireland, so we'll get to those in a second. But we just wanted to give you a bit of background on all the different topics. If there are any topics that you would be interested in us covering in future ones, pop them on the chat as well. We'll make a note of them, and then we can answer them in the next one. So we'll go straight into it. Let's see. So how much does it cost to get set up in Ireland? Actually, the promotion is free registration. So you won't have to pay for the registration as such. All you have to pay is for the 2 years upfront for filings. And then Amazon is going to reimburse you this amount. So it's a great promotion, actually. We have a lot of attraction for it. It does end in December, so I would just make sure that you use the promotion before December, and then you can benefit from it. This one as well.
So how long is the spring promo on for free VAT or OSS registration valid? So as it's a spring promo, obviously it's for a limited time only. What was the deadline?
Until Easter. So Easter is on the 21st of April. So you have until then. So make sure that you get in contact with us before, because that is the final cutoff date. So you just have to send us your application form before, and then we can apply it.
Yeah, exactly. Even if the registrations, take time, it's when that contract is set up so that you can make sure you get that deal.
Yeah. A lot about FBA shipments into Ireland I saw in the chat as well. ATS and UPS are actually just between the UK, Germany, and France, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's not currently including Ireland. Maybe in the future we might see it included, but until then, we're not seeing it included. And another one about shipping into Ireland.
So I think there's maybe a good time to sort of differentiate between shipments into Ireland and distance sales into Ireland, because you might not even be aware that you already potentially have been making distance sales from the UK or from Europe into Ireland, and Amazon will fulfill orders to consumers into Ireland for you. In terms of how the VAT is managed, it depends where your company is based, but you may have already made shipments into Ireland. In any case, it is possible to ship into Ireland from the UK, from the EU. It's then just obviously the transfer of stock into the new Irish fulfillment centre that would have to be a separate shipment.
Yeah. So in terms of couriers, I think we've seen people use FedEx, DHL. Any couriers can send shipments into Ireland. There's different ways that you can do it. I guess you could ship into the EU and then ask a courier to ship some inventory into Ireland.
Yeah.
Or if you want to split your shipment up already, for example, from China, you could do different shipments from there and just avoid having to do another shipment afterwards.
Yeah, and also as usual, when you are shipping goods into an Amazon fulfillment center, make sure you're using a service that is familiar, because Amazon has very specific requirements. Some of you obviously may be experienced sellers and already aware of that, but we do see some sellers that have pushback or delays or rejected shipments. So just to make you aware.
Next one, please send the link when you can apply for the free VAT registration in Ireland. There's no specific link. If you just get in contact with Avast, you can email us on inquiries@avastgroup.com, and one of our team members will be in contact with you. It's free for everyone, so just get in contact today.
Yeah, so when you go on your Amazon account, then when you've got your Irish VAT number, you upload that, and as part of Amazon's promotion terms, they will then send through the according refund. So it's Amazon's promotion. As long as you're selling on the platform, you can look at their terms for more information.
Yeah, I think it was, we've seen the terms, and it's slightly, as soon as you get the number, you upload it as you said it, and roughly 3 months afterwards, you'll get the reimbursement. So eventually the entire thing is free for you. It's just that you need to pay a VAT first to get the VAT number for free and the filings, and then Amazon will reimburse you.
Exactly, yeah.
Where did we leave it off? So we've seen, so you've registered for a couple of VAT numbers. That's great. And you've been waiting over 2 months. Could I just ask you to put on the chat which countries you registered to? Just because it does depend on the country. So some tax offices take a little longer. So just as an example, Germany takes 3 months. So you might be just about to receive your VAT number, but it'd be great to understand more of your situation so we can give you some more information. And in terms of the chasing and no response, if you just leave comments on the side of your application form, you know, you have the online application form where you've given us all your documents, you can just leave comments on there and we can respond to you, or you can email us as well. So lots of options. IOSS question.
Yeah, so could you send me a link to register IOSS in Ireland? So yes, you can register IOSS in any EU country. Internally, we'll usually do it in Italy because it's just so quick. I don't believe we're offering IOSS registrations in Ireland. But if you want, you can set up a call with us. We can go through as to why it might be Ireland specifically that you want. It might not be necessarily have to be Ireland. If you're wanting to make distance sales there, like we said, Amazon might already be doing that for you. So we try to avoid registering you for unnecessary like VAT or IOSS registrations.
That's the thing. Yeah, you might not actually need IOSS in specific. If you do, as you mentioned, Italy might be the best country for you because it just takes a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So one, we want to make sure that you do need IOSS, and if you do, then we can just use another country, because as soon as you have one IOSS number in all of Europe, then it's valid for any country. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. Experiences with rejecting the VAT number in Ireland. We actually haven't had any rejections just because we know exactly what the tax office needs. And one of the things that they do need is invoices to Irish customers. You're right, you can't store inventory in Ireland before you have the VAT number. But as Laura was mentioning, you can make distant sales, and that's what they're looking for. They're just looking for a sale, let's say, from Germany to a customer in Ireland. You'll have that invoice. That's what they need to give you a VAT number. So it's not that you need the VAT number before the invoice, it's you need the invoice before the VAT number. And that's why we haven't seen any rejections, because all our clients have provided an invoice before we apply. TikTok as well. Let's have a look.
We get a lot of questions about TikTok, actually, TikTok Shop in the UK. So if you're looking to sell in the UK on TikTok, you would need to have a UK entity. So we get some sellers, set up a whole new business to be able to do that. In terms of, the actual costs, it might not necessarily be cost efficient if you maybe haven't sold any of your items, you're not sure of the market in the UK yet. But yes, you would need to set up a UK company, and then you can register a UK TikTok Shop account.
Back to questions on Ireland. The Irish authorities seem to be reluctant to give VAT numbers. Again, I think it's just we haven't experienced this just because we know what they need to see before giving a VAT number. So I think just the main thing with this is just make sure you have all your documents ready beforehand, which we can help you with. And that way they have the evidence that they need to see, and they'll give you a VAT number. I think any tax office is similar, isn't it? They want to make sure the numbers that they're giving out is to people that actually are going to use it.
And file as well.
And file. So if you have a tax agent registering for you, they obviously know us from a long time ago, so they know that we'll make sure that our clients are filing. And I think it's building that relationship with the tax office that helps.
Yeah, sometimes sellers will try to register themselves and go directly to the tax office, which is not always the best way around it, because they will sometimes send direct post, or they will send emails or correspondence that not necessarily you're going to know to look out for. So I think that can sometimes delay or cause issues when sellers do register themselves and they don't necessarily know how to respond to additional information requests. And where we will actually work quite closely with different tax offices and have experience in that and what kind of documents that they're looking for.
I'm just scrolling through to have a look. A few questions. EFN, yes, it changed to remote FBA, but they keep using EFN sometimes in their marketing. So we just want to make sure that we cover all the different acronyms that Amazon use. Let's have a look. Any final questions from anyone? Let's see.
Will Ireland orders be fulfilled? Have we got a question here? So will Ireland orders be fulfilled via PAN-EU? So like we said, that might already actually be happening for you. If you don't have stock in Ireland, you can still sell on the platform, or on the UK platform might still be used as well, into Ireland, but the product can be sent from France or from the UK. That is still an option. Obviously, the benefit here of having the Irish fulfillment centre is that your stock is local, you can have Prime, and that's a benefit for your consumer and also for your fulfillment cost as well.
And I guess that leads to this question: when will the Irish Fulfillment Centre be up and running? It is. It's up and running. So that's why everyone's trying to get their VAT number so they can use the Irish Fulfillment Centre. So the sooner you get it, the sooner you can start using it.
We got another question about OSS.
Yeah.
So will Ireland orders fall under OSS VAT if we do not have VAT registration? So that would be the case if, for example, you are making sales from France to Ireland. That's a distance sale, so that's within the OSS registration. If you have stock in Ireland and you use that fulfillment centre and you have sales Ireland to Ireland, that's a local filing and can't be added in the OSS VAT filing.
I just want to cover this question just because to clarify where the payments are going. So you would have to pay a VASC for the filing service just because we'll be your agents, but we have the promotion with Amazon. So we have a partnership with Amazon where Amazon will then cover that cost. So they will reimburse you the full amount that you paid a VASC. So to you, it would eventually be free because Amazon is reimbursing you back. So at the end of the day, it is free. It's just Amazon are kindly covering that cost for you so that you can launch in Ireland. So,
and the initial registration cost is actually free as well. So we've offered that free of charge.
Yeah. IOSS we've had before.
Yeah.
Lots of questions on Amazon FBA. So hopefully we've covered that.
Yeah.
But if there's still a few questions, let us know. Again, transport to Ireland. Will I have to specifically transport inventory to Ireland, or Amazon will do this? It's not completely clear right now. Amazon want to ship the inventory to Ireland, but I just don't think they've finalized the route just yet. So until then, you can just use DHL and FedEx that we were mentioning before. But then eventually Amazon will hopefully add it onto PAN-EU and you can start using it. This one.
So do you need an Irish VAT number to store goods there, or can you use your English VAT number? So it's a good question about Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland. So Northern Ireland technically is part of the UK. So if you wanted to use fulfillment centre there, I don't believe Amazon have any fulfillment centres in Northern Ireland, but that is part of the UK. So that is covered by your UK VAT number. But Ireland itself is part of the EU and not part of the UK, and so is not covered by the UK VAT number. So yes, in response to your question, you would need the Irish VAT number to store goods in Ireland.
Yeah. And again, following that one, you can ship to the FBA in Ireland. after receiving the VAT number. VAT numbers we're seeing are taking about 1 to 2 months currently.
Yeah.
It might go up as demand goes up just because everyone's using the promotion. This is the tax office timeframe, so we'll work with them to try and reduce it. But just so everyone's expectations are clear, if you apply now, chances are you'll get it in about 2 months. Once you receive it, that's when you can start shipping into the FBA. So just try and get it as soon as possible would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
Megan.
So if I am registered for VAT in Germany, France and Ireland, and you participating in PAN-EU, will Amazon move stock to Ireland based on their algorithm? So currently, as we understand it, they're not able to do that. But sorry, just having a few technical difficulties. But just to finish off the question there. So you can move stock into Ireland, but as we know it at the moment, Amazon will not be moving stock in.
You can hear us. The camera just turned off.
Oh, now it should be on. Testing.
Yeah, can you hear us now?
Yeah, okay, we're back.
Sorry, our internet dropped off, but hopefully we still have everyone on the line.
So just to finish off this question, so if you're registered in France and Germany and Ireland and you have PAN-EU activated, to our understanding at the moment, Amazon is not going to move the stock automatically in the same way that they do between Germany and France. As Natalia said, it's likely that that's going to happen in the future. At the moment, because it's so new, our understanding is that it's not happening. So you would need to make a separate shipment into the Ireland Fulfillment Centre. But I would imagine that anytime soon we'll be hearing from Amazon that they will be shipping between fulfillment centres within the PAN-EU setup.
Questions on fees, just to give everyone some outline on actual figures. Yes, you have to pay 2 years upfront to Avast. We are doing this at a reduced fee. So it's 800 a year, so 1,600 that you would have to pay Avast.
And that's euros.
Euros, 1,600 euros. So anyone that's asking, I see another question here, how much do you need to pay Avast? 1,600 euros. That covers you for 2 whole years. So, and then Amazon are actually reimbursing you up to 1,900.
Yeah.
So it will cover the cost completely.
Yeah, and the registration is free. So that was it be your only cost.
Yeah. And price to be paid, exactly the same. So 1,600 euros for 2 years, completely covered by Amazon.
Including the application.
Yes. Let's see. Another scenario.
So for a seller based out of the EU, in order to store inventory in Germany and join the EFN, do you need an IOSS number also, or do you need an EORI number? It's a good question. So IOSS is only for goods that are shipped from outside of Europe directly to consumers inside of Europe. So often it's linked with drop shipping. In your case, what you would need if you're storing in Germany and shipping all over the EU is potentially OSS, but it depends where your company is based. If your company is based outside of the EU, Amazon is actually going to cover your own OSS filing. If you're based in the EU, then if you're based outside of the EU, then you would need your own OSS registration. So you can store in Germany, ship all over Europe to consumers all over Europe, and only have your German VAT number and potentially an OSS number, depending where your company's based. And EORI is only used when you're importing goods. So if, for example, you want to import from your supplier into Germany, you'd need the EORI number. But when it's being shipped to consumers, you don't need the EORI number because your consumer is the importer of record.
Yeah, great. Lots of information in that one answer, but hopefully that made sense. I guess it's differentiating VAT versus IOSS/OSS and EORI number, but I guess if you still have questions after that, we can go through it on a call.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier to go through your exact scenario because there's a lot of variables. So it could be if your company's based here, if you're selling on this platform. So feel free to book in a call and we can just go through step by step what applies to your case.
Yeah. I'll put another case on screen. It's quite big, so maybe it will cover quite of the screen, but hopefully you still see us. So you sell in the EU and you use PAN-EU, and you send inventory to Amazon Italy, and then it gets distributed to Germany, France, wherever you have a VAT number. Perfect. You don't hold a VAT number in Spain and any of the other EU countries, and you're trying to weigh the cost of registering and having the submission without VAT registration. So what are the pros and cons? The thing is that I know getting a VAT number is an investment, and we completely get that, but you will be able to store in Spain if you get the VAT number in Spain. The benefit with that, you'll have Prime eligibility. The shipping timeframes will be much lower. Anyone that filters by Prime will obviously see your product because you now have the eligibility, whereas before they might not be seeing the product. So although you're in an advantage because you're already storing in 3 countries and clients from Spain can still buy from your inventory, I think you'll just see that little bit extra as soon as you invest into a Spanish VAT number, and your fulfillment will go down slightly because Amazon does favor the people that have several VAT numbers. So yes, you'll make that investment right now to get the VAT number, but all your other costs will go down. So I think eventually you'll see a positive.
Exactly, and that's really the whole goal of PAN-EU is having those fulfillment centers. They're there for a reason, because if you're making money, Amazon's making money, like they exist for a reason. It's good for you to have your stock in more countries. Obviously, it depends on the expense and actually how valuable that market is to you, because next to Spain, you have Portugal as well. Do you know if your products would probably do well there because they will use the Amazon Spain platform? So consider that as well, I think, when you're making your decision.
And it might depend on what you sell. Obviously, we're just talking generically, but depending on what you sell, Spain might be a great market for you. Because you can do distance sales into Spain right now, maybe have a look at how many you're making into Spain versus other countries. And then that could guide you, well, maybe should I actually expand into Spain? Or maybe it's a different country that you expand into, but base it on actual figures. How many invoices? I know we've talked about invoices needed for Ireland. We would suggest about 3, just to make sure that you don't get any rejections. We have processed some with less, so 1 to 2, but 3 I think is perfect.
Just gives you peace of mind that you know it's not going to be delayed if they ask for more, or if they ask for any other documents to prove that you're ready to sell. The more the better.
I guess that's one thing that we didn't mention, that sometimes we do apply and the tax office asks us for more evidence. So the more that we can give right at the beginning, the better. Okay. Can you be... Let's have a look at this one.
Okay, can you be VAT exempt on Amazon for a UK business due to being below the threshold, but still register a German VAT number on Amazon? So yeah, this is a good question. We do get some sole traders or some sellers that have started their business and they're not necessarily registered for VAT in their home country where their company or trader is based. You can still register for VAT numbers in other countries, such as Germany. The only country to watch out for is France, where you need a VAT number in your home country where your company or your entity is based before moving ahead.
We have answered this, but just in case you missed it, it's taking approximately 2 months to get your VAT number in Ireland. So the sooner you apply, the better.
So if I have an Ireland VAT number, will Amazon be able to distribute my stock if I send to any EU countries into Ireland? So I think this is coming back to Amazon moving stock around as part of PAN-EU. Currently, not as of yet, but in the future, that will no doubt be happening.
And again, a lot of questions about Ireland. VAT returns would be free and sponsored by Amazon. It's really hard for us to clearly define this just yet because Amazon has only just launched. So I think we can cover this in another broadcast once we have more information from Amazon, just to give you concise data. So to your question, I don't know just yet, but as soon as we find out, we can let you know. Steps.
So the steps for VAT registrations to start the sales in Ireland. So the steps are, just like any other VAT registration. You have to complete an application form. We have to collect standard company documents, director's passport, director's proof of address, company incorporation documents, and also the evidence that is specific to Ireland, where you need to have proof of sales into Ireland and proof of a transporter contract as well. So as long as you have all of those elements, we can then make that application for you. And as soon as that VAT certificate comes back, we provide it back to you and complete the filings for you.
Yeah, I guess transport isn't something that we've elaborated on too much just yet. So aside from the invoices, as Laura said, you do need to have a shipping contract in place. The reason why the tax office is asking for it is, again, to make sure that anyone that is getting a VAT number is going to be shipping inventory. So it is a requirement. Once Amazon starts shipping into Ireland, we can use that as evidence. But until then, and that is also a reason why we know that Amazon aren't shipping just yet, is because the tax office is asking for it.
Yeah.
So just have it in place before, and then there won't be any rejections, and it will just go smoothly.
Exactly, yeah.
And for the promotion, Paul, you could just reach out to us. There's no exact link or anything. So if you reach out to us on inquiries@avastgroup.com, then anyone can help you get set up for the Irish promotion. We're just seeing the comments now when we dropped off. So great to see that you were still hearing us.
This is a good question. Are there any customs clearances needed when shipping from UK to Ireland? And yes, so there is, again, depending on where you're moving your goods to and from. If it's coming from Northern Ireland into Ireland, you would have details on that shipment as to where the end destination is. If the end destination is Ireland, there will be a specific clearance process. If the end destination is France, Germany, or another country, because it's come from Northern Ireland, technically the UK, and it's not just going to Ireland, there is a different clearance process. So again, it will depend slightly on where the goods end destination is. But as you can imagine, because of Brexit, there is a border between the UK and Ireland, but there is a slightly different border between Northern Ireland and Ireland.
Let's see. Again, a few questions about customs. So you imported into the EU and you were charged a higher import duty based on the fallback method. Is there any way to avoid that so you don't have to pay higher duties? It'd be great to know, Richard, where you imported into in the EU, because that often makes a difference. So the way the duties are calculated is where the products are coming from. So based on your CN codes, where you manufactured, if there were any alterations to the products, and then where you're shipping into. The place that we would always recommend to ship into is either Netherlands or France.
Yeah.
Netherlands, they have a system where you can import into Netherlands and then go into a different EU country, and that's where you're storing your inventory. So you actually don't even have to have a Netherlands VAT number, even though you're importing there. But they have great schemes to help sellers import into the EU at a very reduced cost because you don't pay import VAT. So it's a great one. And the same happens with France. You go straight into France. You don't pay import VAT. In every scenario that I'm talking about, you do pay duties. But again, it will depend on the method that they use, whether you pay more or less. So do let us know where you're shipping into, and maybe alternatives like these ones would be better for you.
Yeah.
registration timeframe.
So, what are the timelines for getting VAT registrations in Spain and Italy? Previous VAT registrations took vastly different timelines, UK and France. So, yeah, as you can imagine, each tax office is different. They have different document requirements, different processes, and different offices as well. So sometimes if your company is based in a certain country, you will be registering in a certain tax office. So sometimes when you're comparing with other companies, you're not necessarily going to have the same time frame. In Spain, currently it's a few months. Actually, we've seen quite heavy delays in Spain. It's potentially part of the two-step process. So you have to first create a local VAT number and then an intra-EU VAT number. That just prolongs the process. So in Spain, I would say expect at least a few months. Italy, very, very quick. We love the Italian VAT setup. It's so quick, takes about 2 weeks. And that is for, you know, all accounts that we've seen, very straightforward. But yeah, it's different for each country. So if you have other specific countries in mind, let us know and we can give you some average. These are all average timeframes also from the tax office. We can never be specific because it is the tax office that we're relying on, but we can give you our averages.
Yeah, I get it also depends where you're incorporating. So there's so many factors that will play into this, or if you've just opened the Amazon account and they want to see screenshots of your Amazon Seller Central, there's a few things that we keep in mind. But again, as Laura said, specific scenario to you, we can try and give you timeframes specifically. Will this be recorded and released? Yes, it always is. And you can see previous ones as well. So if you missed any of our other ones, you can see those as well.
Okay, so we've got another question. For how long is the Amazon program to help Ireland VAT returns and registration last? I think you mentioned at the beginning, Natalia, how long is it until?
Until the 31st of December of this year. So you literally have the entire year to register. At the actual terms and conditions say that you have to sign up to a VASC before the 31st of December. If you then get the number a few months afterwards, that's absolutely fine. I understand your concern that you don't want to send inventory to Amazon. You want to wait until Amazon PAN-EU does that, but you don't want to miss on the promotion. Again, we'll keep you up to date in these broadcasts if we have any information. I still think it's a great market. It's a really up and coming market. So even if Amazon decides that they're not going to be shipping, I still think the investment is good, especially for these 2 years that would be free of charge for you. If you then see that the market isn't good enough, then you can deregister. So you could always just cancel, but I wouldn't miss out on this opportunity. Let's see.
Okay, so in the PAN-EU program, are the fulfillment costs significantly higher from neighbouring countries, France to Belgium, compared to having stock locally in the country? Yes, absolutely. I mean, with countries like Belgium, Netherlands, Austria, where you don't have local Amazon fulfillment centres anyway, you are going to be paying a cross-border fee, but it's likely to be slightly less because Amazon is aware that they don't have the fulfillment centre there. So that's why, you know, like we were saying before, it's always better to have stock in multiple countries.
Yeah. And I guess the best way for you to find out exact numbers, Amazon have an FBA rate card that you can just download and you can do your calculations based on where you're storing. So you'll already see how much you could be saving if you store in multiple countries. Okay, let's have a look. Could you please summarize? Let's do a summary here.
Okay, please summarise the process to ship stock from UK mainland to the new Republic of Ireland FBA fulfillment centres. So if you're going from UK to Ireland, again, it depends if it's Northern, I imagine it's not Northern Ireland to Ireland, if it's just UK, so UK mainland, So UK mainland to Ireland. So you'll need to have a Irish VAT number, you'll need to have an EU EORI number, and your UK VAT and EORI for the export. So you can speak to a shipping provider, double check that they are familiar with shipping into Amazon fulfillment centres and also clearing goods in Europe for non-EU companies. I assume your company is not based in the EU. So once you've clarified all that and you're happy with your transporter, you provide them with your Irish VAT and EORI number, and then they can move the goods across, and there'll be a customs clearance in Ireland. They'll tell you the import VAT and import duties. Import VAT you can reclaim, so make sure you keep hold of that shipping document.
Yeah.
And then it will clear into the Ireland fulfillment centres with Amazon.
I assume this question was to do with timeframes. So Germany is about 3 months right now. Obviously, as Laura said, this does differ. At the time that we're saying this, it's 3 months, but things can change. Things could get better. Sometimes we've seen 4 months. So hopefully it doesn't go up to more. But if you're applying right now, it's about 3 months. Yes, again, the recording of the session will be available.
I think it's on YouTube, LinkedIn, multiple
everywhere.
platforms, so wherever is easier for you.
Yeah. Okay.
So Avast don't currently offer a customs and shipping service from UK mainland to Ireland. So we don't do customs clearance in Ireland at the moment. We do have partners that we can recommend to you for shipping and clearance. If that would be something you're interested in, then absolutely reach out and we can put you in touch with them. But currently, we're not offering clearance in Ireland directly within Avast.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. We've just gone over the time, but we'll do one last one. So let's have a look. If you have the usual PAN-EU numbers, all the ones, will Amazon automatically hold the stock in Ireland and ship them as Prime? Or are we not yet operating PAN-EU? So just to summarize, they're not yet operating as PAN-EU into Ireland, but Ireland is a very good market right now, and we have the promotion. So all you would have to pay is filings to Avast. So that is a total of €1,600 that covers you for 2 whole years. Amazon will reimburse the entire money that you paid Avast, plus you don't have to pay for a VAT registration. So it's a great promotion. It runs all the way up to the end of the year, so you can still use it further along the year, but you will have to have a shipping provider shipping your inventory into Ireland until further notice. If we have any information, we will let you know. I know we've talked a lot about the Irish promotion, but if anyone is also applying to any other VAT numbers, we have the spring promotion as well. So you can use both promotions at once. Different countries will do both of them. Just make sure the spring promotion does finish on the 21st of April. So that one is a bit more short than the Irish one. So if you want to use that one, I recommend that you do that one first. And then Ireland, you have until the end of the year. Lots of questions today. I would love to hear if anyone wants any specific topics, just let us know, because we're more than happy to adapt. Thank you again for all your comments and watching today. Hopefully that was very helpful.
Thank you.
Bye.